Hello, everyone. My name is Shagabwari Nubi, and I'm the founder of Chat Moms, the biggest all-female platform on social media in Ghana, and the founder of Tell It All. It's truly a pleasure to be here on Just for Women Africa.
Tell us what you've been up to after being crowned Miss Ghana in 2002.
I actually went back to university, studied clinical psychology. I have background in clinical psychology. I did my dissertation at one of the biggest hospitals in Ghana called Kolebu. I was the clinical consult at the University of Ghana Kolebu Hospital. And then also I formed my own consultant firm for clinical psychologists called Serenity Center, where we advocate for the mental health of and well-being of the people in our community. What we did was we identified people with special mental challenges or special needs, and we assigned them to specific specialists, so clinical psychologists in our communities who could basically support them without any cost. I did my rotation with UNICEF. We did a stigmatization against the HIV/AIDS campaign. I also worked with Right to Play. And so, yes, I've been juggling a million and one things. Have a family, I'm a mother, and a wife. Yeah, that's basically it.
What inspired you to start Tell It Mom and Tell It All?
It wasn't a planned thing. I didn't really plan to create a social media community as huge as it wasn't a premeditated decision. It was something that came about because there was a need. I wanted to learn from women who were my age, who were older and younger. And we lived in a society where the information was a bit restricted. And so we created a WhatsApp group for women in our society. It was just made up of my friends, my cousins, my mom's friends, my mom and her friends, and I mean the likes. And then the family just grew. We just kept on sharing supports for motherhood, for womanhood, for businesses, for caregiving, everything that had to do with women. We just had to like come together as a community. And WhatsApp became too big for us. We had to relocate from WhatsApp to Facebook. And to my amazement, I was actually shocked. Overnight, Telemoms grew from a group of maybe 50 people to thousands, almost 500,000 members.
How did you come up with the name Tell It Moms?
So it basically stems from the facts where speaking up has always been an issue. Like I said, I'm a very shy person, and speaking up is very essential in understanding and getting information. And so the name tell is to basically speak. The word speak it all was not, it wasn't jiving properly, but tell it was actually sounded actually nice to me when I thought. But it basically denotes the fact that we wanted a space where people could tell it as they wanted it, to tell it without judgment, to tell it without holding back, to speak up when necessary, and to be able to receive as well. So hence the name the talent group.
How did you manage to grow such a large and active community?
I'm not gonna lie, it was very overwhelming to begin with because we didn't expect it. And like I said, it wasn't premeditated. So we didn't have proper structures in place. But one thing I'm so grateful for is the women and sisters and friends that we started this journey on WhatsApp. We started a journey of connectiveness, togetherness, and sisterhood. And the women who basically commuted from WhatsApp to Facebook were still on the Facebook community. And so most of them are administrators and facilitators. They were able to help bring some sanity to all that all that community chaos because Facebook at that time 10 years ago was very different than it is today because we all wanted to learn something. We all wanted to inspire one another, to connect with each other. But there are certain violations that you do not want to have on social media platforms. But we also needed a place to vent, a place to talk about personal things. And when it comes to women, we are talking about breastfeeding. We are talking about breast milk not coming out properly. We are talking about childcare. We are talking about financial empowerment. And so it was something that was like a revolutionary space where people would come and see things that people were actually shamed for talking about. And I think that's the uniqueness of Teled Moms. And that is how we're able to bring order to the overnight success of the community.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced during the early days of running the group?
It's basically organizing it in a way where people can easily access. Because once something is on social media, it's there. But because there's so many of us on the platform, for you to find information, because you're overwhelmed with so much, it became a bit challenging for people to see something that was spoken about maybe like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. You'd have to like go through all the numerous, I'll say millions of messages to be able to get to what you really wanted. So we had to come up with a concept to organize some of the information, some of the vital information. And we also had to be consistent in repeating, because the technical aspects on Facebook doesn't necessarily allow us to be able to reshuffle and arrange certain things. It's only recently that you're able to highlight certain discussions and pin them to the top. But in the past, everything was just there. It was just so much information at one time, which became a bit overwhelming for people to consume. And so I'll say that would probably be one of the challenges, and people not understanding that if there is an emergency, social media is not a place to post it. It was actually very, but in the community that we find ourselves in, I understand that a lot of members felt comfortable sharing their medical emergencies online simply because they go to the hospitals and they were waiting in long queues, or they didn't have the resources to be able to go to the hospitals. And we had on our community experts, different medical experts who were willing to actually do an online consultation with some of the members. It's not always effective because at the end of the day, you can't diagnose people by looking at their faces on a screen. You need to go into a facility, do some tests. So yeah, I would say we're able to manage that by having certain experts on the floor who came together to say, listen, we're willing to volunteer to support the mission so that we can all have what we need to be able to grow.
Tell us about the different types of moderators in the group.
First and foremost, we have, aside from the moderators, I want us to talk about group experts. So we have what we call group experts, medical experts, legal experts. Most of these people have been in the field, different fields, for a really, really long time. And so after looking at their credentials and what they've been able to contribute to society, we bring them onto the platform to be able to help. Most of our moderators are made up of clinical psychologists, because this is the field that I'm in. Because we are dealing with a lot of psychological aspects of the women, of women on the platform. A lot of the things that we deal with, we understood that it started with the state of their mind. And so we have about maybe 3 clinical psychologists who are moderators on the platform. We also have, I'm a Christian, so I do have a woman who is a woman of God, and she actually is one of our moderators. We also looked out for people who can easily connect with our members of different ages, people of different ages. So we have from millennials to Gen Zs to, we don't have Gen Alpha yet, but the youngest person we have is a Gen Z. And it's very insightful when we have these various categories of people on the platform because they bring an eclectic feel to the conversations that are had. But that can also tend to be a bit challenging because when you have baby boomers telling you to keep silent, or the baby boomers telling you silence is golden, the millennial will tell you silence is not golden. We don't believe in that anymore. So yes, there's this a varied perspective about how things should be addressed because of perhaps the age gap from different members. But yes, our moderators basically is based on expertise, based mostly on expertise. How long the person has been on the platform, how they're able to interact with members on the platform, and how much they are willing to support the mission of the platform.
What are some powerful or life-changing stories that have come out of the group?
Oh my God, where can I start? Where can I start? There's so many life transformative stories that have been shared by our members. Starting from people being business oriented. We have a lot of stay-at-home moms now doing online businesses. You won't believe it, just because we told them it is possible for them to do their online business no matter what. And a lot of our moms have become entrepreneurs. They are running their own businesses. They're traveling to Nigeria. I don't know why Nigeria is like the hottest spot when it comes to trading, but obviously it's because goods and services are cheaper there. So a lot of our young mummies go to Nigeria, buy their goods, and they come on the platform. One of our members actually called and she just wanted to celebrate the platform because she said in a month she made over 500,000 Ghana cedis in a month just by selling okrika that was imported from Nigeria. And she's had to go back to school. One of the things that we encourage our members to do is you can never stop learning, no matter how old you are. And a lot of the members have gone back to school. You see women of 70-year-old women, 80-year-old women going back to school, going to law school, going to medical school, because we are fueling them with the thought process that anything is possible. You're never too old. It's never too late. If you have a dream, you can pursue it. We've also had very transformative relationship when it comes to relationships and speaking up about things that are important. Because, in Ghana, we have a culture of silence is golden. I think in general, in Africa, silence is golden. You just nod and smile and look good as a woman. But today's generation of women are more insightful, very intuitive. It's not about being aggressive or being demeaning, but being involved in things that affect you as a woman, as a mother, as a person in society, from politics to healthcare to finances to self-improvement. These are the things that I think were not subjects to discuss before till its moms. And now it's become a very common thing. Another thing that I'll say is it sounds a bit frivolous for a lot of people. But I remember there was a time I posted, I had this robot, the robot sweeper. This was like maybe 7 years ago. And I had a robot sweeper at home and then I posted it on the page. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, women of today are so lazy. And why do you need a robot sweeper? And why do you do this? And why do you do that? When people make such comments, I never get upset with them. I just use the opportunity to enlighten them that, listen, today's woman is working, taking care of the family. We are multitasking. If you can afford a washing machine or a robot sweeper or anything that could help elevate whatever it is that you're doing, why not? It's so amazing today. Almost every week, we have somebody who's looking for a washing machine. Meanwhile, in the past, washing machine was frowned upon as lazy woman. But today, we have almost half of our yummy mummies asking for the best brand of washing machine.
How do you ensure that men do not enter the text moms group?
That has been a challenge. I'm not going to lie. It's like the biggest challenge that we are facing. So, because of that particular challenge, we had to stop receiving new members. Now, this is what is happening. We have men who create fake accounts, and some of these accounts have been existing for a really long time. And they are female accounts with the names of females. They've been building these accounts for only God knows reasons, maybe research purposes or what have you. But this is a challenge that we've had to like basically sit on the table to discuss for a really long time. So what we've decided we are doing is before any new member comes on board, we'll have a facial interview with a person. So we're not just going to allow members to join the groups online anymore. If you want to join Headed Moms, you'd have to have a video call with our administrators for us to be able to accept you. So we've left the telephone number there on the request to join the group. And in order for you to join, you'd have to do a face. But even with that, we have people whose accounts get hacked. Somebody's accounts, maybe they don't have a security two-factor authentication on it. The accounts get hacked. This is something that is a general issue when it comes to social media platforms. The hacking is a general issue, and that is something that I think the founders of Facebook and all the other social media platforms are still trying to deal with. So yes, we do have the hackers, and then we have our own sisters who get so flustered by some of the things and they want to share with their spouses. But we expect a level of maturity, and when it comes to divulging information that is supposed to be for a sacred group, you understand? But we do understand that, yes, they say the two shall become one. If you're in a relationship with somebody, there's something exciting or fascinating that you want to share with your spouse. There has been instances where our members are the ones sharing screenshots with their spouses. And it's rather unfortunate because it's supposed to be a secret, safe space for just females. But we women, it's very hard for us to keep a secret, So we want everybody. And when a woman is happy, when a woman is in a good mood, they want to share. We are sharers, but we need to train ourselves that, Charlie, some of the things are just meant for us, and I think that has been a challenge. It's something still work in progress. We're still working on that. But so far, so good. We're doing the video call for membership only. Without video calls, you will not be added onto Telet Moms.
Are there any plans to turn Telet Moms into a product, service, or physical space?
Absolutely. I'm going to send you a picture and an image of everything. So as a community, we've evolved from just a social community to a movement. And part of what we do is to impact the members and society at large. We have about 5 school educational facilities under our belt. We've built and rehabilitated hospital facilities and all that. We do a lot of training. Training is at the core of Telet Moms, be it from animation to digital training to vocational skills to farming, agribusiness. This is training that we've been doing for the past 10 years. Telet Moms is going to be 10 years this year in October. In fact, we are officially 10 years, but we're going to be officially celebrating our 10th anniversary in October, which is a big deal because it talks about the journey that we've gone through. And throughout this journey, our main concern is to improve the lifestyles of our members. Now, we've been able to empower a lot of our members by training them, teaching them specific skills. They started producing, but they are targeting the local markets. As part of our 10th anniversary celebration, we are officially going to unveil our Telet Moms Empowerment Hall. It is an institution that basically empowers members, not to the small scale level, but to take their brands and services to the next level. So they can be able to earn income, not only for just temporal, but build some form of legacy for generations and the entire country. I believe the women on Telet Moms have the ability to change the GDP of the country. That is if we are able to execute this properly. And so the Empowerment Hub is connecting people who have raw skills to be able to develop these raw skills to the next level, to the international. So it's internationally appealing to the rest of the world. So that is what the Empowerment Hub is an institution, a facility for training. So I think for that, for the 10th anniversary, that is the core uh, transformative projects that we are looking to do. Regarding a hospital facility, perhaps that will come later. But for now, we want to be able to empower the members by skill building and taking them to the next level when it comes to gaining skills and knowledge about their products.
What partnership or brand collaboration have come from running the group?
We've done partnerships with Babito Ghana, Pepsodent's Cousin's Baby, Lydia Cosmetics. There's been so many collaborations. I can't remember all of them from the top of my head. We've had collaborations with financial institutions, microfinancial institutions, with Sheila Zuntaba. We've had some collaborations to help in policy implementation. We recently did a partnership with Confident, a research survey organization that basically helps us to do policies, the government to come up with policies that impacts women directly. And so we did research projects, which was basically to find out how women-friendly workplaces were in Ghana. And we officially launched it recently at the Stanchart Bank. So yes, we've done quite a lot of collaborations with organizations and government institutions. We've done collaborations with the Ministry of Gender as well, where certain issues are brought to the table which involves social welfare. We would have to call the gender ministry, and they would also help. They usually help to facilitate some of the issues that we've had to deal with in the past. Yes. From the top of my head, those are the ones that really, I just hope nobody gets upset with me for not necessarily mentioning, oh, Tom Tom. We've done collaborations with Tasty Tom, several brands. We do a lot of collaborations with them for different programs. During COVID, we did one with Pharmadel to create awareness and to donate products in the medical facilities, from hand sanitizers to safety gadgets to help them.
What's next for Tell It Moms and Tell It All?
Well, right now, like I indicated, Tell It Moms is at the peak. We are blooming at 10 years old. We have taken into consideration all the experiences, all the stories, all the life-altering things that have happened on the community. And we're putting it all together and seeing how best we can use the information that has been collected, the data that we've collected over the past 10 years on Tell It Moms, to make a better impact. In the next few years, our main goal and mission is to expand beyond the social media platform. One thing I forgot to mention is, aside from being on social media with almost 500,000 members, we have what we call the zones. The zone is made up of different regions. So for instance, in Greater Accra region, we have about 7 zones. People who live in Tema, in Dansoman, and Airport, we've created subgroups where you're connecting directly with members. And I'll say the zones are the heartbeat, or the backbone of Tell It Moms, because there you're able to directly connect with your actual members, not online, actual members. And these members are all over the world, aside from Ghana. Some of them are in the UK. We have zones in the UK, zones in Paris, zones in Italy, all over in the US. We have zones across board. Now, the whole idea is we've been able to do so much as a virtual community. We are looking to bring all that information into reality and make more of an impact. by having edifices, not one edifice, but edifices that represent what Tell It Moms is as a community. And for Tell It All, obviously, Tell It All was created because a lot of the men were trying to get into Tell It Moms just out of curiosity. And so we created a space for both men and women, which is Tell It All. For Tell It All, the main idea is to introduce not only policies, but opportunities where people are not usually informed about, to be able to take advantage and make an impact not only on themselves, but as a community in general. So we are taking the knowledge that we've learned online into reality and making something that is real, something tangible that you can easily touch and see and feel and say, that is the Tell It Moms institution of empowerment. That is the Tell It All that is making an impact in my children's life. And so that is where we are taking Tell It Moms and Tell It All, and hopefully continue to grow as a community online as well.